I am Muan Null of Dolphe, of this way place. Your intervention and aid is greeted with welcome. Lord Farseer Eon Kull will thank you for it.
Colonel Monal from Tanith Dale. It's good to see you boys. And make no mistake, the Elector needs all the help he can get right now.
Deep within the Segmentum Pacificus, far to the galactic west, lies a cluster of 1,000 habitable worlds. Though famed as the birthplace of an Imperial saint, these worlds have been hotly contested, changing hands between the Imperium of Man and the forces of Chaos many times over the millennia. Named in honor of that saint, they are called the Sabbat worlds. In the year 755 M41, hundreds of years before the Great Rift and the awakened Primarch, a crusade was launched to claim it in the name of the Emperor and Saint Sabbat. This action took decades and produced some of the most iconic and unusual battles in the history of the Imperium. Few, however, were stranger than the Monthax incident. A battle in which 60 men supposedly punched their way through a force in the tens of thousands. A battle in which a cyclone sprung as though from thin air. In which ghostly apparitions and phantoms of the past were reported. A battle in which an Inquisitor vanished. Pursuing the forces of a Chaos warband, the combined might of the Imperial Guard regiments of the Volpone 50th, the Rowan Deepers, and the Tanith 1st, made landfall on the jungle world of Monthax. It can't be called an invasion force exactly, as the forces of Chaos didn't hold the planet, so much as were simply using its dense forestation as a place to regroup their large but disorganized numbers. Unable to target the enemy forces from orbit, the Imperial Guard did what it always does, and sent men down into the jungles of Monthax to bleed. Better equipped and better trained, the combined Imperial Guard force was, however, significantly outnumbered by their Chaos-worshipping counterparts. As such, they adopted a conservative approach, taking and securing ground gradually, confident they could eventually force the Chaos cultists into assaulting a fortified position. What followed was mostly skirmishes between scouts as the Imperials awaited what they believed was an inevitable attack. It is a common saying among Imperial commanders that the action of a Chaos force can never truly be predicted. As such, it took the Astra Militarum forces by surprise when their scouts reported, yes, the Chaos forces were on the move. No, they weren't attacking the Imperial lines. In fact, numerous Chaos cults had seemingly presented their own flank to the Imperial Guard as they surged through the jungle in a disorganized train of men and war machines. Unsure if the Chaos forces had some kind of esoteric purpose, or had simply failed to understand where the Imperials were in the thickly jungled world, the Astra Militarum Command wasn't going to look a gift horse in the mouth. The order was sent to attack. Eon Kull, Farseer of Craftworld Dolphe, an Eldar so ancient he is known amongst his kind as the Old One, possibly as some sort of reference to the progenitors of the Eladari race, possibly just a reference to his ridiculously advanced age. It is unclear. We do, however, know he served as the guardian of a major webway gate on behalf of his craft world. A webway gate the minions of the Primordial Annihilator had discovered. A webway gate on the jungle world of Monthax. Using his gift for weaving illusions, along with a small force of Eldar, Eon Cull had managed to keep the forces of chaos from discovering the exact location of the Webway Gate for as long as he could. But time was not on his side, and the net was closing in. Fortunately, the Monkey of the Imperium had come, and while the humans were both a young and aggressive race, they despised the primordial annihilator with a commendable zeal. Eon Cull was not the Farseer he had once been, but where his body and psychic power had declined, he possessed the experience and skill only such a monumentally long life could provide. He would weave subtle illusions, gently affect emotions and motivations. With a feather touch, he would slowly position the humans not only in conflict with their mutual foe, but in a position to buy him time. The forces of chaos knew the location of this Webway Gate now, or would soon. As such, it would have to be closed, and the humans were going to give Eon Cull the time to close it. His web of deceit was a masterful work of psychic ingenuity, but it required one final step to cover any flaws or cracks in its design, and drive the Imperials where he wanted them. Eon Cull would use his remaining psychic power to summon a storm. Nothing too heavy, just enough that the humans of the Imperium and the worshippers of chaos would struggle to identify what was real and what wasn't. Sadly, time makes fools of us all, even the near-immortal Eladari. Eon Cull would once have been able to control the weather with simplicity. Now, however, the ancient Farseer found the working of power a struggle. Still, he drew upon reserves of might and forced the storm into existence. Though, he passed out with strain at the effort. One might think this would be the end of the storm, but in fact it was quite the opposite. Without the control of the Farseer, the psychic power ran rampant. What had been intended as a light tropical storm manifested as a cataclysmic cyclone. All throughout the jungles, the Imperial Guard had engaged the Chaos Cults. The Tanith First are not known as an assault force, producing mostly scouts and stealth specialists. The forest-dwelling Tanith were, however, well suited to skirmishing through the jungle. As such, they not only supported the more heavily equipped Rowan Deepers and Volpone 50th, but penetrated deep into the Chaos forces in a series of running battles. That is, except for 3rd Platoon, led by Major Elam Rawn, and supported by the Tanith First's undisputed best sniper, Helene Larkin. 3rd Platoon, through luck, Eladari illusion, or divine providence, simply never found a foe to engage with. On and on they pushed into what was supposed to be Chaos-held territory, with no resistance. It was at the height of these running battles, or non-battles, in the case of 3rd Platoon, that Eon Cull's less than subtle workings struck. Men and vehicles were tossed like the toys of an unruly child, as the jungles were torn apart by unnaturally powerful winds. Monthax was inherently a wet planet, but with absolutely no forewarning, the soldiers of the Imperium and the cultist forces of chaos were assaulted by flash floods from multiple directions. That is, of course, except for 3rd Platoon. Continuing their streak of bypassing resistance, Major Rawn and the platoon found themselves in the eye of the storm as it sprang to life. They may have been protected from the cyclone, but no one received a stronger dose of Eon Cull's manipulations. The Tanith First, you see, are often called the First and Only, as the regiment's homeworld was obliterated by the forces of chaos on the very day of their founding. the uniquely ranked Colonel Commissar Guant had ordered the extraction of the single regiment, saving what he could, but robbing the surviving Tanith of the chance to defend their home. Of course, 3rd Platoon must have ignored that order, as they were presently moving to defend the planetary governor's palace from the Chaos invasion. Why would they listen to an off-worlder? Guant was not one of them. Besides, the storm overhead was ruining communications. Major Rawn and 3rd Platoon knew what to do. Move through the nullwoods of their home and defend the governor. They could do it, storm or no storm. This was their home, and no one was better suited or more determined to defend it.